Welcome back to Switch to Linux. We are going to do a quick look at a new distro called Reborn Os. This one is a fairly new distro that is, it came out of the community build of the Antergos Deepin. And basically I was looking for another build with Deepin without running the full Deepin itself. I just wanted to get a chance to see the desktop and some other systems as well. And it turns out that Antergos is one of the best ones out there that I was able to find. It'd be kind of cool if Ubuntu had an Antergos, or excuse me, if Ubuntu had a Deepin flavor. I haven't seen one yet. But this build here is, it's just a basic Arch installer, essentially. And if, you know, I'm not into the Arch branch of things. I'm a little out of my element, so I apologize if I had said that incorrectly. And again, if you're new to the videos, my quick look is where I will boot something up, and I have not even looked at this yet. I've installed it into a VirtualBox, and that is it. So we're going to have a quick look at the website, which is rebornos.wordpress.com, and I will try and remember to link that down in the description down below. Now, what's cool about this is you have a whole variety of desktops. This installer is pretty nice. You can install the Base, Budgie, Cinnamon, Deepin, Enlightenment, GNOME, i3, KDE, LXQT, Mate, OpenBox, and XFCE. I mean, like, what's missing? Not a lot. So if you are looking for something, the major difference that I found on this from Debian, for example, where you can do the same thing, is Debian actually allows you to install multiple desktop environments. This one you can only install one during the installation process. Then you have a variety of other software, and this was actually really cool. So the website there is scrolling down through these different builds. Now, I did run into a small problem on the installer. It would not install correctly because apparently there was probably a piece of software was not in the repository correct or something. Probably had to do with either something in the Arch user repository or just something else didn't go right. So after the installer failed, I reset the system and I installed just the basic system with the Deepin desktop. And then I just intend then to go through and check how the installation process goes from there. We do have our updates, and here's a simple software center for Arch inside the package manager. And, you know, of course, you know, completely secure and private. I'm just not sure exactly what I think of the Deepin desktop. I don't see anything about these system requirements. It does say it's lightweight. That caused a question. We were just looking at this briefly over on Total OS Today's live stream, where it says it's a lightweight desktop, but I'm not actually seeing any of the system requirements or anything like that. So that's one of the things I'm going to be looking into. So with that being said, we're going to go ahead and we will boot up the system here. The first thing I'm actually going to do is I'm going to show you the installer itself. So we're not going to install it this time, but I am going to load this up with the installer, just so you get a chance to see what that looks like. Okay, so here is when you first load it up. We can boot directly from this, and so it's going to take just about 15 to 30 seconds or so to get booted up into the screen where we'll have our various options. It does have all of the VirtualBox guest editions installed by default, so once you install it either in the installer or in the installation itself, it will be full screen for you. And we'll see here that the installer is actually running Budgie by default. I did see, though, if you log out of this and log back in, there is actually several different desktop environments on this, apparently. I have no idea why, but it is. We're going to go ahead and click through the installer. And I don't know how to pronounce this. I guess Cinch or Cinchy installer. I don't know exactly how that's pronounced. But we're going to select our, everything that we have here. It'll have the most common places. You can select all locations if you're in somewhere else. It's going to auto-detect my zone location. Here's keyboard. And then here is where you can install the variety of different desktop environments. So Enlightenment, here's GNOME, i3, KDE. So it'd be kind of neat to see how they interpret all of these different things. I went, of course, with the Deepin. The next thing is, this is the step here where you just select the packages that you want. So this is pretty cool. Like, this computer does not have any Bluetooth, but if I did have a computer with Bluetooth, I could turn that on. You have the choice of web browsers. Chromium is there. Firefox is down here. You have your Dropbox. Thunderbird is an option. And then common photo editing, video editing, the Arch user repository is available there. So you can see everything that you can do here. You can turn on or turn off a variety of different file managers. And, there's Spotify, there's Steam. And then once you click on Next, I think at this point in time I'm going to... okay, so this is the Firewall Settings. And here's the disclaimer for the Arch user repository. I don't actually want to proceed here because I don't want to erase what I have here. Once again, if we go ahead and log out of the system, then inside of this, it should... Did I just log out or did I? Okay, yep. Let's see. So down here, you can choose between Budgie, GNOME Classic, GNOME on Xorg, GNOME Wayland, so there's a variety of options there as well. We're going to go ahead and power this off, and then we'll come back in on the installation itself. So let's go ahead and remove that disk, and then start this back up again. The first time you install into this, it's going to ask you if you want to install the flat packs, or if you just want to remove that from startup. So you have the option. I went ahead and enabled that. Okay, so apparently it's asking us again. So let's go ahead and I'll go ahead and add, I guess. I think I got that wrong. I already did that, so I'm not sure why it keeps asking me that. I'm not sure if that's eventually going to go away. This is only the second time it's installed. You'll see that it did install without a wallpaper. So I'm going to right-click on the desktop, and here's a nice place to install the wallpapers. So this is actually, this is some of those things that people really like about Deepin, is it's very, I got to say, this is kind of cool. It is kind of elegant in its implication, or application, I should say. But if you're looking for this type of thing, you have that option. And I had the option there to just put that on the just on the desktop, or on the desktop and the login screen. It looks like we do have a variety of different options. You have your hot corners, so you can come over here and select these. If you know me, you know I absolutely hate those things. I'm glad it's an option, but I'm very happy I can turn them on or turn them off at will. Let's have a look at our display settings. All right. So here you can actually right-click into your settings. This is kind of what Deepin is sort of known for, is this new modern type system. Some people will call it kind of a cross between a Mac and a Windows type system. And I have not played with Deepin enough to know for sure if I can get this set up. Like, I do not like desktops that are set up like this. It's a personal preference of mine. Some people like them, some people don't. I just, I can't get into them as much, and it's curious. I'll be curious if I can do the same thing I can do on Budgie. Set it up kind of like the Windows with a kind of like a Mac type feel, a true hybrid. I don't know. That's usually what I try and do, and the reason I do that is because that's just the way I found I am most proficient. However, not everyone is the same with that. So we'll go ahead and have a look at our settings over here, which I can get to with the dock control center, or right-click, and I can hit my display settings and go back. So that'll get me back both ways there. So here is my avatar. I can pick an avatar. Who does not want a cute kitty as their avatar? So there's that. Here's modifying your name, password, account login information. Okay, so there you go. Now I'm a cute kitty. Curious if I can change that clock. We'll have to look into that. Here's your display, so you can scale your display up. So if you do want to, increase the scaling, you can do that. Okay, look, it does say that you have to log out to log back in order to see that. Here's the screen resolution, so that's actually neat. We can pick our screen resolution there. Screen brightness. I didn't think that actually do anything because I'm not on a laptop or anything. There is a rotation option. I'm not going to mess with that. I don't want to accidentally rotate out and kind of get stuck. Default applications. We have Chromium. There's no mail installer here. Here's a variety of music. This is, I mean, I gotta say, I really kind of like this settings panel. This is very slick. So I have a variety of different options I can pick from here. The flat remix. These are icon themes. Don't have a lot of choices on icons pre-installed or cursors pre-installed. We do have a variety of different themes for. Let's see, try to see if when I would actually see these settings. Let's go with that. That looks kind of cool, and I'm not sure when that will take in effect or not. Here's your wired network. I assume that wireless would show up in that list there if I had wireless on the system. Here's your speakers, microphone inputs. So once again, we have that same microphone input that I really was looking forward to using on Budgie. I found out that for Skype, it still doesn't work. I still always have to reselect my microphone correctly in Skype. Okay, so here we are. Here's time settings. Date and time. Looks like, I mean, I'm not seeing a quick option for my my clock being. I would like to move my clock out of 24-hour mode. I'm not exactly seeing that as an option here. It might be somewhere else. Here's power management. Monitor will suspend. This is actually something that I'm finding is not quite as easy to find in some other Linux distros. So that's kind of cool. Here's your mouse options. I guess the only thing that is a little unusual here that might be a little bit more maybe annoying for some people is that it's this big long scrolling system that kind of might be a little on the annoying side. It just kind of depends on your own personal thoughts. But it is basically, it's all goes into the same menu. It looks like it just hotkeys down to those locations. So everything on this menu here is essentially all the same. Okay, so here's weather looks like. And I'm not sure if that is actually displaying my location from geotagging or whatever else. I have no idea where this weather is pulling from. That actually might be fairly accurate, in which case I'd like to turn that off, location settings. So for me using an operating system, I really need to be able to see that location, and I have no idea if I can change that or not. That's actually a little frustrating to me. Okay, location, let's see. I'm going to have to leave that as an unknown for now. Is it grabbing my location from you know, either geolocations or my IP address, whatever else? That is a huge thing for me. And particularly, I'm going to call out a little farce on this, particularly if they're saying this is this highly privacy-centric operating system. Did you catch that on their main website? If they are announcing that and I can't turn off location, I'm sorry, they've lost me. I'm going to leave that out there, and I'm going to leave that out there as a giant unknown. Because what I see here is this weather does look accurate to me from where we're at. And that's disconcerting. I'll tell you that that's disconcerting, that there are some built-in weather applications, some built-in location service in this operating system that I can't seem to control. Maybe, like I said, maybe it's in there, but with this system here, let's see if there's something else in here. There's the control center. Okay, so I see nothing in here that indicate that there might be any other settings somewhere. So I'm going to leave that as a giant farcical type. Don't tell me you have this privacy-centric system, and that is actually on their homepage, and have the thing pulling my location automatically with no control over that. Just throwing that out there. That's not good at all. Let's have a look at our updates. So I guess clicking on that, it tells me it is, the system is up to date. Okay, thank you. Yeah, I was made aware of that. Stop it. Leave me alone. Okay. So, okay, well, apparently clicking the X button doesn't work. Let's see what else we have here. Okay, so this is the Software Center. It's the GNOME Software Center is the one that I have here. I believe. Let's have a look at that. Now, mind you that the system does indeed have a variety of applications. So one of the things I usually like to do, it seems to have frozen on me. One of the things that I like to do is show the software that is installed on a distro by default. And what I'm, this one here is a little bit different from that because of the fact that you can choose the software that you have. And it does appear as though my entire system has completely frozen. So, yeah. I wanted to like this, but I'm not really sure I can. Yep. Kill it. Restart it. That's a bummer. Yeah, I do really want to like this. I really want to give Deepin another shot, but it's like I'm seeing a lot of your modern systems are trying to do this, or they're trying to pull in from all of the variety. See, it's asking me this again. This is okay. I'm going to remove it from startup because I'm really sick of the thing constantly asking me about flat packs. Anything else? Okay, so what I was saying is a lot of systems are saying, they're going to pull from all the best UIs, and everyone keeps on pulling from like the Mac UI. Mac is not a very well-used system. The usage stats are fairly low, and they're not exactly rising any higher. It's not a system that's taking over. So I don't know why like GNOME, Deepin, other systems are kind of taking a Mac-like approach to things. I don't really think it's quite as elegant. And I just don't know. I just don't know. It's a deep criticism I have of the system. Let's go ahead and have a look at our systems again. Let's see if I can actually get into the software manager. Okay, so that time it didn't crash on me, so that's good. All right. Okay, so I apologize. I did say that this was probably the GNOME Software Center. This is actually their separate package manager. I think it was in the... I saw the GNOME Software Center. Okay, here's another one here. That one's the GNOME Software Center. Okay, there you go. So I wasn't going too crazy. It is on here. Hello. Kitty came up. Say hi. All right. So inside of here, I'm guessing this is the place I'm going to go if I want to install like different repositories. So let's see. I'm going to guess if I want the Arch repository, I'm going to have to come up here. There you go. So there's how you turn on your Arch user repository. All right. So we do have a lot of nice repositories here, so I'm guessing that you could pretty much find anything that you would want in here. So let's try searching, like, let's see, Skype, for example. So here's Skype. Spotify. So this works, exactly as you would expect it to work on any Arch-based system. Just comes in here, you have your options of your repositories. Okay, so here's your repositories and here's your Arch user repository. So you have that option there as well. So that's actually good. That's nice. There's our wired connection. So one of the things I'm not a huge fan of is how we have the panel down here. It just kind of seems like kind of haphazard, and in that, you know, we have the settings directly down there on the panel. Let's see what this is. There's your package manager, and I think this is going to be the GNOME. No, what is that? That's your updates. That gives me our network. I'm not sure why the icon for the network has network and software. I'm not quite sure why that is. That brings up our settings. This brings up our power options. Device. This is the calendar. There you go. There's 12-hour time. Okay, well, it fixed the time here, but it did not fix the time on my menu. So I don't know. I think that this is that Deepin seems to be a good attempt. This doesn't speak to Reborn OS. This speaks to Deepin itself. I think as a desktop environment, it seems to me a little confused. It doesn't know what it wants to be. It wants to be like a Mac, but it doesn't have that unification. I don't know. I'm not sure how I feel about it. I don't know. Can I add widgets or anything else like that? I don't know if I can actually do anything. It's kind of like GNOME. Don't seem to know how to make any adjustments to the system. I can obviously set hot corners. I can change themes around, so it has that over the GNOME system that I can change themes around. But it just doesn't have a lot of other functionality. Can I even adjust how this guy works? Okay, so there's an efficient mode. Okay, there we are. Okay. I like that. Now can I add things to this? Okay, left, right, top, center, keep shown, smart hide, keep hidden, plugin, sound, power, date, time, and network. So if I take off network, okay. All right. So, I mean, I get the long panel there if you do want the long panel. So that's nice. So you have those options there for you as well. But it doesn't look like I have the ability to do like task managers, things like that. Viewing the open windows. If I pull this up, let's cancel that. I don't have the option to have the taskbar there. That's, I think, one of the things that I think Budgie did a lot better is trying to produce a modern UI, but everything integrates into it a whole lot better. And so that's kind of my thoughts on this system. It's to me, it just feels a little bit. It feels a little bit kind of like too much like GNOME, in that I can't do a lot with it. The settings are cool. I like this type of panel here. I like how they have all the settings here, but I think Budgie was right to pull all these settings off of its side menu, off the Raven menu, and put them into its own system, because this can actually be a little hard to navigate through and find everything. It is not a bad implementation, though. I don't know. I'd have to use it a little bit to see what I think of it, but cannot run without window effect. Okay, what's the system here? That's my show desktop. All right. Deepin movie, Deepin file manager. Let's have a look at the file manager. This is something that I like looking at. I'm a big fan of the Nemo file manager. I'm not a big fan of the other ones. Let's see, new folder. Okay, so I can do a new folder easily. Let me move that into documents. That works. I can do new window, set a shared password, settings. Let's have a look at what's in settings here. So I like all the settings they have. That's not bad. We have the list view and an icon view. Can I change the size of the icons? Okay, so I have options for 5 different options there for sizes. That's good. Default view, icon, or list. Show hidden by default. Okay, yeah, so actually that's not too bad. File Manager's looks pretty functional. I'd like to see how it transfers larger files to know for sure. I do like we have the option to work off the desktop by default. We do have 4 documents, Office document, spreadsheet presentation, and plain text document in our templates folder by default. So that's nice and user-friendly. Icon options, we have tiny, auto arrange, open in terminal. Okay. Yeah, so there's some things about this I really like. I like a lot of the modern interfacing, but I don't like just kind of the layout directionality. It's just I feel like I don't have the options to set the system up in such a way that works best for how I run things. But overall, it does seem like it's a desktop that does kind of stay a little out of your way. It does look cool. I do like how the appearance is. So this type of look is pretty nice. Do we have the option here? Like, what is that? Okay, so that gives me a list view option. So that's actually kind of cool too, where I have things divided out by internet, and I have this quick option over here. I do like that. That is very nice. How I have the various options for that just by selecting the item over here. And there's another icon up here. What's this do? So that kind of gives me a menu option. So that's actually kind of cool. I like that. That's pretty nice. So I have the full size here if I like that, and I have kind of like the Mac-like view, the Windows-like view. Okay, I'm taking this back. There's a lot more to this system when you get to playing around with it, and it's actually pretty easy to find things, apparently. Let's go back. I want to see if a person want to get this set up kind of like more like a Windows-type system. Now we have the option to have a menu item much like this. So that's actually pretty cool if you're looking for this more traditional type menu, or a type of menu here where everything's all out, or you want the full screen, or you want the full screen with your categories. So you do have a lot of options in this. So you do have that. I would kind of like to see some widgets on the panel, because I'm not seeing a lot here. Maybe there's something, but if there is, I don't know how you might set it up. You do have the option top right, bottom, and top left, right, bottom, down, whatever. I can't say my options. Just read them. Top, bottom, left, and right. There you go. Up, up, down, down, left, right, BA, BA, start. There you go. That's what you have. So you have the options there inside of this. So okay, so Deepin is pretty cool in this respect. Again, I would like to see more options for widgets on our panels. It's almost like GNOME in that there's not nearly as much customizability as even there is in GNOME, and that kind of says a lot for it. All right, so that's actually pretty cool. Overall, my take on Reborn. Wow, I kind of like Reborn. Reborn itself gives you the option of your desktop environments, a lot of different options. Obviously you have the Arch user repositories, several other repositories to work with here. I did encounter a couple of small stability issues. The first is the installer. It crashed out when I tried to install several of the software packages the first time. So I'm not sure if that's a universally problematic thing or not. The second thing is we saw it did freeze up on us. That could be a VirtualBox thing. That could be a system-wide thing. But overall, Reborn is basically a fork off of Antergos. And so whatever stability or misstability you might have inside of Arch and Antergos, you'd expect over here. But I do really like their implementation, where we have the variety of desktop environments with a variety of software and the variety of repositories. Again, let's go back and go back into the repositories again. There's add remove software. So here's our categories. There's our repositories. Multilab, Reborn OS, Antergos, Blue Star, Core. All right. Yeah, so a lot of good software, a lot of options. This is a good system. If you're looking for a good system, have a lot of different options on a good rolling, up-to-date, modern system like Arch. I'd say that this would be a good one to try out. Watch out for those small instability pockets that I've seen, and I'm not sure I like the lack of customizability in Deepin. I mean, you can change the panel, you can change the menus type. I'd like to see more widgets. Like, I want to see an option to have a task list at the bottom, because that's the way I like to work with things. Also, the same thing with your... same thing here with your launchers. I'd like to see a launcher item that behaves more like a regular launcher and not like a pinned item. This is one of those things that I just feel that we're being pushed into a direction that we deal with, but we don't necessarily want. This is kind of one of those criticisms on Budgie is Budgie does not have launchers. You can pin things, but who's it? Like Windows started this concept of pinning things to the taskbar, and then they slowly phased out the quick launch bar, and then it just kind of became this. Everything's now pinned to the taskbar, and it doesn't behave the same way. And for those of us that need multiple instances of the same application running, it's kind of a pain. And somebody's probably going to tell me, yeah, you can middle click it probably. But it's a pain to have to do that, especially since a lot of the mice that I use, especially my mobile environments, don't have middle click buttons. So that's not always an option for me. All right, so there's my thoughts. Quick look, Reborn. Rockin'. Deepin, so-so. Overall, the system, it's pretty nice, pretty sleek. We have a lot of options. The options are good. Options are good. Sometimes too many options. If you're a brand new user to Linux, you might want to steer clear of this one for a bit until you get your feet wet in something that's a little simpler, not as many options. That's for sure. But if you are a Linux power user already, you're looking for something else fun to play with and toy with, this might be a good one to take a look at. So again, I'll have the website linked down there in the bottom in the comments there, so you can go ahead and have a look at their website, see what you think of them. If you'd like to help support what we're doing, check out switchlinks.com/support. Again, for if you made it all the way to the end here and probably mad at me, half of you are going to be mad at me, half of you are going to like it. But this is a quick look. This is not a review. This is not, why didn't you research? Because it's called a quick look for a reason. I do the quick looks to see how an operating system functions for a person who knows their way around computers but who has not seen a system before. That's the objective of a quick look. So thanks for watching. Hope that you enjoy switching to Linux.